The Angry Chicken is a production of amove.tv. Check out Amove TV for more podcasts covering Blizzard games. And for more of Jocelyn's gaming podcasts, visit josplays.com. The Angry Chicken is brought to you by our legendary patrons over at patreon.com/TAC.
Time's up. Let's do this.
Legendary.
You face Jaraxxus. You smell like a leopard gnome. I knew it. So hot.
A podcast about Hearthstone and Battlegrounds. This is The Angry Chicken!
Greetings and welcome, everyone. This is TAC. I'm Garrett Weinzerl, here as always with Jocelyn Carney. And we've got the show. I love weeks like this, Joss. I love weeks like this because the game is getting meaningful updates that changes the meta in both Constructed and Battlegrounds play. But also, we didn't have to try very hard on the show notes.
Those are always the best weeks.
Yeah, extra super special for me today because by the time I got in there, you had already dumped everything we're going to cover in the show today into the notes. And I was like, oh, not only did I know what we were going to talk about today, but I don't even need to like copy paste it or format anything, or it's just done. It was lovely.
Best co-host flex.
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert, I don't have much to flex.
That's okay, neither do I. It's okay, we can flex our hair muscles. That's what we can do. That's what we can do, Joss. It was actually, a lot of people don't know this, the rejected racial bonus for a Blood Elf was going to be hair muscles.
Hair flex?
Yeah, hair flex, yes. Flexing your hair. But they decided to go with Arcane Torrent. I still think they chose poorly.
Oh, so poorly.
So poorly. But yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk about today. And I'm pretty stoked about most of the changes that have happened. I guess before we get into it, I'm just curious, did you play anything different this week? Did you find like a new love, a new deck? Anything new going on in your Hearthstone world?
Well, Garrett, do you know who I finally got to play in Battlegrounds?
Did you finally get to play Bigglesworth?
Eudora. I've played Bigglesworth, but I literally never experienced Eudora on 4 digs, but I got her on 5 and I got first place, so she's fine.
Great. Yeah, because I think she might be booty now and not like the good kind of pirate booty.
Not the good kind of booty?
No, the good kind of booty is the kind that pirates want to steal. I think she might be the butt kind.
I think she's still fine. And I also got super lucky because I got a golden spawn. So, you know, like the golden that I got on her was really well timed and it was a great minion at that tier and everything else. So, I mean, I definitely got lucky with my comp, and then I just kind of went crazy death rattle Buffy stuff, and it was super fun. But yeah, I found it hilarious that I never actually got to play her before she got nerfed. But I have since experienced the power of Eudora, and I think she's still fine. Again,
nice. Fine
at my MMR. Like, there's definitely a lot of like better players, better heroes, everything else. But I think she's fine down in the 7Ks.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played her. I did have her offered to me once, but I was also offered the new, once again buffed Lich King. So I took Lich King and got first place.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we're just spoiling our Battlegrounds talk.
Well, that's going to be more technical. We're going to talk about the exact changes, how we feel about them. But yeah, I've been real hot cold in Battlegrounds in terms of my own performance since the patch. As a matter of fact, when I got first place with Lich King, I turned right around and got an 8th place the game after with, I don't even remember who. I was just... you never remember who you were playing when you were bad. Oh, no, you know who it was? It was Alexstrasza, because Alexstrasza is absolute garbage, and no one should ever play that hero.
You take that back.
No.
You take that back. She's the best.
You and Slissa are gaslighting me. Alexstrasza is just RNG crap. Like,
you just don't know what you're doing.
Oh, I do. And it's never finding the 3 gold pirates ever, so you can actually try and cheat Alexstrasza, and it's even more so never finding anything worth half a damn from her hero power. So I hate Alexstrasza. I hate her so much.
My name is Garrett, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right.
She's my favorite hero, Garrett. Come on now.
You know what, Joss? Get on my Amamar. Get on my Amamar. Which actually is going down at the moment. So you might be past it. So anyways, yeah, but overall having a good time. It's been shaken up quite a bit. Still enjoying standard. It's Hearthstone's feeling overall pretty good. We've got some stupid drama to talk about today. But overall, I think the game's in a good place, and we got a lot to talk about today. Before we do that, we do want to thank those of you, however, that are supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. If you like the show, you'll want to support us, that is the best way to do so, because it's like you can opt in to subscribe to the show. $1, $2, whatever works for you. And you get some perks like an ad-free version of the podcast, access to our Discord, stuff like that. So go check it out. Patreon.com/TAC. And to some of our most recent patrons, thank you to Connor Bond, Ridiculous Hat, who I promptly yelled at and said I would have happily added you as an honorary host into the Discord. And he was just like, I got it. And then Jared S. Thank you very much, Jared. Thank you, Connor. And thank you, Hat, for your support of the Angry Chicken. And now let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
Patch 18.0.2, the catchiest of all patch numbers, is upon us. It was announced on Monday and released late yesterday. If I am correct, it doesn't matter. It's out now. That's the only thing that's really important. What was that wave?
There was literally a fly on my camera. And I was like, why is everything so blurry? Oh, fly wing. Get out.
Okay, I was just like, it's just like dismissing whatever. Like, no. I expected it. Zzz, zzz, like, anyway.
No, it's literally like just clear up my camera.
I hope you enjoyed my. I hope that you understand what happened, audio listeners. So this was primarily a Battlegrounds patch. However, we did get a couple changes, literally a couple changes. 2 cards were changed for constructed. They came for Kael'thas. Jocelyn, it happened. Kael'thas, Sunstrider, legendary 4/7 for 7, and legendary pain in my butt has been nerfed. So Kael'thas now reads every 3rd spell you cast each turn costs 1 instead of 0.
Which I think is a good change, because all of the 0 mana stuff, particularly in Druid, was getting a little bit out of hand. The fact that they could just kind of go like innervate, survival of the fittest, lightning bloom, coin, survival of the fittest again. Like and I mean, it doesn't necessarily solve that because they also gain mana in a lot of ways, but still it just like, man, it's just such a mess, and I'm glad that they at least changed it, because 0 mana stuff is just some BS.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking for weeks now about how the average power level of a deck in Hearthstone right now is pretty high, and so my pain threshold for wanting to grumble about a card like Kael'thas was actually it was lower, or I guess if it's a threshold, it was higher. Whatever. I wasn't as grumbly about Kael'thas, is what I'm trying to say, and failing miserably with the analogy, because the overall power level is just so high between every deck that's kind of pretty damn popular on standard ladder right now. So he wasn't really in my mind. Like, I was, my brain immediately went to Lightning Bloom. I was just like, why did we give them another 0 mana spell that gives them mana and stuff like that? I was thinking more about that than Kael'thas. And at the same time, I'm sure I'll regret saying this, I kind of want them to still be able to go off with Kael'thas. A little bit. There's a little part of me that still wants that to happen, because you do need a specific specific cards. You still need to invest the 7 mana in getting Kael'thas out. which is maybe not the tallest order for a one class in particular that can ramp like crazy, but for everyone else, I don't know. So I like this baby step. I know a lot of folks were hoping that it would just be the third spell you cast, not every third, but I don't know. I have so much more patience, I guess, for balancing, since they are balancing the game significantly more often. So I say, like, yeah, let's do this and see how it lands and how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about this because I think Druid is the big offender here, and you don't necessarily want to ruin a neutral card specifically for every other class, but it really does feel like they just have so much more of an opportunity to take advantage of a card like this that I'm kind of in the camp of wishing it was just the third spell instead of every third spell, because they have so many ways to just go off in super crazy directions. And there isn't really another class. It's not even necessarily so much that they go off like this on turn 7, but because of their ramp, because of their like mana cheating, like they can like double innervate this guy out on 5, even without doing any other ramp through the previous 5 turns, like, or previous 4 turns. Like there's just so many ways they can kind of abuse him, and getting the 4/7 out that your opponent basically has to deal with 2 turns early is enough already. But then when you're also getting a 10 mana spell on top of that, like that's just complete and utter nuts. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel like there should be some changes to him. I'm glad that they've made the next spell cost 1. That's definitely something. And I'm a big fan of combo decks. I like big crazy things, but I feel like right now Druid's big crazy things, and maybe this is a survival of the fittest problem more than a Kael'thas problem. I don't know, because they kind of feed into each other, but it just seems like they do way too much, way too early, and they don't have to, it's not necessarily like Garrett, you said, I can't remember if you said this on air or if it was us talking, before or after a show, but basically you're like, yeah, I haven't really played too much of this Druid deck because it's really straightforward. Like it's kind of boring. You don't have to think much, you don't have to do much. It's the most straightforward of the crazy combos, but it's so early and it's so big. Like it's if it's going to be early and big, it should be complicated.
Yeah, I mean, that's when it hurts the most, is when it does happen early. But that deck has power potential at any real point in the game. And I guess I was kind of calmed down on it also from watching GM from the past week. I don't know if you saw Frozen versus Just Saying, but I think it was game 3, because it looked like Frozen was about, I'm going to very minor spoilers if you're an esports spoiler person here, but I assumed it was going to be a sweep. I thought Frozen was just going to sweep Just Saying, because it just looked like his mage had just completely blown out his druid, and then because of like a Kael'thas play and some very specific top decks, it was like, oh my god, Just Saying actually
he's come back,
clawed his way back into this game, and it was a great moment. It was like it was what you need in a game like this to be an interesting spectator experience. So like that helped, and just like, I don't know, again, this meta, just everything is already seems so refined and so powerful.
It's definitely a powerful meta, and I kind of think, like Kajatar in the chat room is saying 4+ everywhere sucks at any point when you have anything. And so like, I'm wondering if maybe survival should be like just your deck the same way Embiggen is, like maybe because it impacts your board and your hand as well, then that's where the crazy comes in. But then once Kael'thas is no longer in the game, like then what happens to survival? Do you buff it back up again? Like, I don't know. It's definitely something that I'm sure they're watching, something that we might see changed in, patch 18.2 or whatever. Like there's still a lot of time in this expansion cycle, and I don't think that it's the kind of thing, because you're right, like since constructed standard is just powerful across the board, I don't necessarily think that this is the kind of thing that's like standing out the way Demon Hunter was, that like needed to be nerfed right away, right? Like this is the kind of thing that you can probably let it play out for a few weeks or a month, and then maybe take a look at rebalancing stuff.
Yeah, that's where I fall with the Druid deck. I was pretty salty about it when the first few times I ran into it. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. But I am actually remembering the games where they brick, and I like win against them in a really handy fashion. I've also had proper games where they actually get to do what they want to do and I get to do what I want to do, and there's a back and forth and you actually can still take games off them. So yeah, to me I'm pretty happy with where Druid has landed. Even as someone who's not particularly passionate about playing the deck myself, it's not something like Demon Hunter where I was just like, oh my God, can we do something about this, please?
Right.
So yeah, but Chaos Palace is the type of card that you look at. It's been a while since we brought this up, but I feel like it's worth bringing up again, which is the kind of card I look at and I just go, this has to limit design space. This is a dangerous card to design around, and it just came in with Ashes of Outland, so it's going to be here a while, unless they decide to like Gen and Baku it, which I don't think they should.
No, but I mean, the precedent is there, right? Like and it's a digital card game. They can do what they want.
Well, so. yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If they have to, I think we'll see it rotate. I don't think it's at that level though, at all. It's not like every single deck that we see played across all classes is a Kael'thas deck. So I think it's fine. I think it's better because again, like I feel like in this past like 8 to 12 months, I've really been hammering in on the potentially problematic nature of zero cost cards, but they can, just like you said, limit design space. They can be very, very dangerous. They can be super unfun to play against because you're essentially doing something you're really not supposed to be able to do. And you're negating, especially when you're just saying such and such cost 0 instead of is reduced by X number of mana. You just get into the situation where you can cast a 10 mana spell for nothing. And that's gross. Like that should not happen. So I think that that's kind of like the difference here. And I think that they're making a good choice, making it cost 1. I don't think that it necessarily destroys this combo deck at all. And so, you know, we'll see where it goes over the course of the next month or so, I would say, before we get another balance. But I can't see us getting another balance patch too soon on the standard side.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as full bore nuts as Ashes of Outland was, and that was something that was like really heavily weighted in the Demon Hunter direction. Like it just you could tell. There were stats to back it up as well as anecdotes. So yeah. Anyway, I like this change. I think I'm happy it's as subtle as it is. Let's see how it plays out. But the other constructed change was Mind Render Lucia. Now costs 3 mana up from 2. If you don't remember, because this is one of the new cards, it's a Battle Cry, swap hands and decks with your opponent until your next turn. This is a legendary minion for Priest. And again, I like this. It's Priest. I have my own biases against the class, but like I like that this is a subtle change because I was definitely thinking to myself, it's a little too easy to weave this disruption into basically any Priest turn and still have mana to disrupt with.
And that's why I don't necessarily think the 3 cost increase is necessarily that big of a deal, because you can still do what the card's meant to do, right? There's still the ability to cast her and spend 7 mana on, you know, doing other things to disrupt any kind of combo that your opponent's trying to do. I mean, she's still doing the thing she's meant to do. Now there's another discussion around, should she be allowed to do the things that she does? Because I think that it's, you know, it's very interesting. I like disruption. I like disruption, though, along the lines of Lotheb, where it's like for a turn or two, you make it so your opponent can't do the thing. But this is definitely a really crappy feeling when it happens to you, and you know your opponent plays it and then throws out all the cards that you need to do the thing that you want to do, and then you just can't win. Like they haven't necessarily beaten you, like they don't have a win condition, they haven't killed you, they haven't dealt the 30 damage. It's just like your deck can't win anymore, and that's really, it's just kind of a bad feeling. So
it's and it's something that Hearthstone has really shied away from. It's something that used to happen to me all the time when I used to play Magic regularly, especially blue decks. But like, I think if this was something that was more common in Hearthstone, we wouldn't really, I think, have the strong reactions that we have to what Mind Render allows.
Right, but it's only priests. They're the only class that can do this.
Yeah, and there's similar restrictions in Magic, although not as many. It's another part of the reason I really like these dual class cards, because you get to. I really like the idea of overload in Druid, by the way. But then we got lost in those weeds. But it's I don't know. None of my, I have like counter thoughts, but none of them are like, I think you're wrong or anything of that nature. Like, I completely agree with you. It's just that I think like that's the goal of this card. And I think it's okay, maybe though, spread this out to one or two other classes. I don't think every class should have a way to do this, but make it a little more common. So it's something that we are not really used to this, I guess is what I'm getting, the point I'm trying to get to. Outside of, early day Hearthstone, where Mill Druid was a thing that people would do and would just annoy me, and I would usually win anyway. It's been a long time since that, unless you go to Wild and end up against a Mill Druid, because there's like 3 of them still out there getting there.
Well, and I think the difference there is that when you were playing against Mill Druid, you would have a handful of 10 cards, right? That's still a lot of options. But when you get your hand back from Mind Render, it's like, your stuff's just gone and you don't have as many resources, So it felt like you could still, even if stuff got burned out of your deck, they also couldn't target burn your deck's win condition, right? Which is kind of what Mind Render does. I almost wish it was like, and I know that this would be a ridiculous amount of card text, and Hearthstone does not like lots of card text, but I wish that the effect was more along the lines of like, if you play, or any cards you play this turn, like go to the bottom of your opponent's, or go to the, like, get shuffled back in the deck or to the bottom of the deck or something, because then you could use a card like Pulkit that reorders your deck and kind of like play around that. Like, there's no real counterplay to this. It's like they just play out your cards are gone. It sucks, right?
Yeah. And that's where I'm dancing right now, is I think this sticks out because it's so singularly like this card that allows this type of extremely targeted disruption.
Yeah, it's the gone forever disruption that I think is where I'm getting my feels bads from, and I feel like there could be other things they could do, but maybe it's just because, like, Garrett, I never played Magic, so, or at least, like, other than 1 or 2 games, like over the course of my life, like, but I'm not a Magic player by any stretch of the imagination, so like I'm definitely not used to this mechanic, so maybe it's like me and all the other Hearthstone players just kind of need some time to wrap our heads around it and learn how to counterplay and learn how to, like, if we're up against a priest, then maybe we need to adjust our play style and try to use our combos in or our cards in more interesting ways instead of hanging on to them, so that if we do get mind rendered, there's nothing in our hand worth playing, or everything in our hand is more than 7, like maybe we just need to learn how to play against this card. But right now I'm getting a lot of feels bads from it.
Oh no, I am too. And that type of disruption when I would go play a game of Magic annoyed the crap out of me. I like, it wasn't just blue, but blue had a lot of ways to do this, and I hated playing against blue. It was always my least favorite color to play against, and ironically, my wife's favorite color to play. But whatever the case is, like, it can be interesting, is all I'm trying to say. I don't think targeted discard or targeted disruption, because this isn't technically discard, although it is essential. As far as you, the person who just had your stuff jacked, are concerned, it's discard. It's like saying, well, my house was broken into. Than
discard.
my house was broken into, and they didn't pawn the things that they stole. They just kept them for themselves and used them.
Well, that's the thing,
my
right?
stuff was still stolen.
They get whatever. It's not just that they pull it out of your deck and destroy it. It's that they also get the benefit of whatever the card is that they played. So, like, if you're mage and it's arcane missiles, then, they play out all those arcane missiles and your combo goes away. And then, the other piece of that is they've also pew-pew-pewed your board because arcane missiles, right? So,
right. So, yeah, it I don't know. It could be interesting from a design direction. It could be interesting from our own player, like our player mindsets and how we build decks, because suddenly, like, if more of these effects existed in more than just Priest, or Priest becomes so ubiquitous that you're running into it at a rate that you can guarantee on ladder, we're going to start building our decks a different way. And that could be interesting. Yeah. It could be interesting to have not such tight combo decks. Obviously, if you're a combo player, every word that just left my mouth makes you want to jump through the speaker at me. But,
a little bit.
But I'm trying to paint a larger picture here. It'd be like if this is an effect that we were used to dealing with in more places, and also if the team were designing around it and, started designing cards for combo decks that were less, win or lose.
Yeah, all or nothing. Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, God, if Shirvala decks were like still around, like, Jesus, this card would be ridiculous.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they are in Wild, so I'd like to know what Wild players have to say about Mindrender.
Wild is such it's so volatile. I don't know. I really don't know there. But again, this is the type of thing that I find really interesting, and I think can lead us down some interesting roads. But at the same time, like, I get it. I don't disagree with anything you said. Like, this feels bad. At the end of the day. And it's in Priest, which I personally think is the most feels bad class to play against right now. And I'm going to put words in other people's mouth. It seems like a lot of people agree with me.
Dude, the amount of bans, and we're going to talk about GM in a minute, but they were actually, the casters were talking about this, how like Priest was banned so often, and it really seemed like GMs didn't necessarily think that Priest was the best class. They just did not want to play against it. They're like, I will take a more powerful deck that I know how to play against and that is more consistent. I just don't want to mess around with Priest.
That's how I feel. And again, love to mess around. I almost said F around. I want to mess around with bans in Hearthstone. I just want to just do it. Just do a month. Just like, all right, we got one class ban. Have fun, everybody. Enjoy your month. We'll see how it plays out.
See what happens.
Just see how it goes. And maybe if it's nothing but Priest fighting other priests, maybe we don't get rid of the ban. Maybe we do something about Priest.
It would be an interesting experiment for sure.
Yeah, because everyone would have banned Demon Hunter like the beginning of the last expansion.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And they did change.
I still would. I would just ban Demon Hunter. I will play against priests all day. I don't care. I would ban Demon Hunter and pretend they never put it in Hearthstone, and then I would be in my happy place. So yeah, I'm down for ladder bans.
Wondrous. Well, before we move on and talk about GM properly and not just like random games and moments that I enjoyed, let's thank our today's sponsor, Harry's, because look at this. Look at my nicely shaved face. Look at it. It's so great. It's so great. And
you look wondrous today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've got my DSLR running today too, so you can like see where the stubble.
Oh yeah, it's super high def.
It's a day old already. It's a day old. But you should go check out Harry's razors. They're fantastic. I've been using them for literally years now. And you can go to harrys.com/TAC to redeem your Harry's trial set. But as you can tell, everybody, or if you haven't tuned in a while, you might be going, oh my God, no beard. And if you're audio, now you know, because I told you I have no beard. But I used to have a beard, don't have a beard now. Been just using and abusing my Harry's razors like crazy. And just like, I get a sense of calm over me when I smell like the aloe shave gel now. Like it's it helped. Like it's become like a, not every morning. I don't shave every morning. I know some people do. I don't. I can't. But the mornings I do it. It helps me wake up. It just feels so nice. I've got a little sun right now. It's summer, so I'm really enjoying the aloe and the shave gel, and it smells wonderful. So you should go check it out. And listeners of The Angry Chicken, you can redeem your Harry's trial set right now over at harrys.com/TAC, and you're going to get a weighted ergonomic handle for firm grip, a 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer blade, which I need to use a lot because my mustache tries to grow into my nose, so I really gotta get a fine point with that trimmer blade. You're also going to get the rich leathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and easy to grab on the go, all by just going to harrys.com/TAC. You can do that, and you can start shaving better today. So go check them out, and you too can have a face so smooth you just want to keep rubbing it. And then your podcast host looks at you like, what are you doing? So go check him out.
Yeah, why is this happening?
Harrys.com/CAC. All right. We Grandmasters is back. Week 1 has concluded. It was Conquest. Yes, it's in the notes. It was Conquest.
Yes, this week was Conquest. Next week was Last Hero, or next week is Last Hero Standing, and then after that is Specialist. So they're doing the same thing that they did last time, where we get 1 week of each different like standard format. And then after that, we're going to get into the, different pools A and B and all the round robin-y stuff and everything else. But this is the 3 weeks of seeding at the start of the season. So I am really sorry, you guys. I've had an insanely busy week at work. I was unable to watch or recap APAC or EU. So all I've got for you is Americas, but we have a lot to talk about in Americas because Americas is drama.
It is full of it.
Yes.
So do we want to lead with that? Because I know chat room's like waiting for it.
Sure, we might as well. So essentially what happened this weekend in Americas, first of all, I mean, they've been playing since Wednesday. They played Wednesday all the way through until Sunday. There was a lot of player fatigue. And the problem with Americas is that it comes after both other regions, which means that all of APAC has to play out, then all of EU has to play out, and then we get to Americas. And the reason that they do that is basically because they want a kind of concurrent live broadcast so that, there's nothing pre-recorded, everything just runs into everything else. And so it gets to be a pretty hectic and hefty schedule, as well as being quite variable, shall we say. So with that in mind,
I was gonna use a more technical term and call it random ass.
Okay, yeah, we can go. Yeah, random ass works too.
Okay.
But basically what happened was Firebat was disqualified on Sunday because he did not show up in time for his match. Well, he showed up in time for his match scheduled time. However, he didn't show up in time for check-in, which there's kind of a really big difference there. And we've also just found out Eddie as well, though he showed up and played his match, he has been also fined as a result of this. So basically, Eddie also missed check-in. And so the thing is, the check-in times are set prior to everything, and you guys can go through Firebat's tweets. There's been tweets from TJ as well from the like Hearthstone rules perspective and like showing timestamps and what the players are told and everything else. So, I mean, it's not that the players were unaware of the rules. It's just that, and that's kind of more of the conversation that I want to have is not necessarily, like, did Firebat, should he have been fined? Should he have been disqualified? Blah, blah, blah. Because, yeah, he broke the rules. He should have been fined. He should have been disqualified. Rules are rules. They have rules for a reason. Now, are the rules good rules? I think that's more important because the thing is, with the way that things played out, the Saturday games of Grandmasters for the Americas were like 5 hours behind. Like they finished at like 1 a.m. It was super, super late. And the schedule was just crazy. And then they had a check-in time at 10:30 in the morning. And so there was time in between. However, with everything being so variable, with the schedules being all over the place, I think they kind of looked at the check-in time and went, ugh, like, because the thing is they check in so early in the morning, their matches may not be scheduled for hours later. And then the other regions might run long and everything else. And so with the variable schedule, it does get to be super frustrating and I get it. But at the same time, it's your job, be professional, which is kind of where I fall on this is like, you were given the rules, whether you agree that they're good rules or bad rules, your check-in time was 10:30, check in. It's your job. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I agree with that to a certain degree. But as someone who thinks you're being punished if you watch it live, I don't think making it even harder to know when that shit it's going to be live is an enticing way to go about this season.
Yeah. So the thing is, that is what I feel like is kind of the other piece of like, that's the more interesting conversation to have, I think, is like, does the live broadcast actually work well for viewers? Does it work well for players? I personally think that there's no reason why they can't have set match times behind the scenes, have the players play it out, put an embargo, NDA, whatever you want to call it, on results, and just say, you know, like record the matches and then show the matches to the commentators, because it's not like the players can read Twitch chat. The players can't hear the commentators or anything else. There's literally no, and they don't do, the other piece of it too is ever since Blitzchung, they don't do interviews with winners afterwards anyways. So there's no value to having the players actually playing their matches live. You could pre-record all of that and just have the casters cast it once it becomes time in the broadcast. That way the players have more stability. The players have a set time when they know that they have to check in and they know that they have to play their games. It's all said and done. And then if you want to have this long, huge, crazy concurrent broadcast, like, kind of sucks for the casters, because basically they've got different casting teams in different regions as well. Like, those guys' schedules are all over the place too. But have you ever seen a caster not show up for a broadcast because they're 5 hours behind? No, because it's their job.
Yes. Yes to all of that. So yeah, and you know, I there's not one way I think is necessarily the right way to go. Like, not doing it live is one way. I lean that way because I'm with you. I'm like, well, does it matter if any of this is live? No. Well, then why is it? Why are we bothering? Like, so, and I realize, you know, it could become, there's all kinds of things that get in the way, especially when you're like, well, what's going to happen? Are you still going to like trust that? Are you going to let trust players to record their own games? You're going to edit it after the fact. There's all kinds of considerations there. But really my thought is just, I'm not so certain that like this is the best way to do it. Like, especially, and it is, as you mentioned, it's unique casting teams. So why run it back to back? Why does it need to be that way? You're already, frankly, taking a loss by being on YouTube in the first place.
Well, yeah.
Like, just to be blunt, like, I watch probably more YouTube than I do Twitch. I'm weird like that. I'm a boomer. But
and I'm the total opposite. Everything I watch is Twitch, except for when Hearthstone forces me over to YouTube.
yeah. But like, freaking just have NA start at a certain time on the certain days. Like, why have this variable? So like, I think it's, I hate to say both sides, but really, I think both sides have a good argument. Like Firebat's taking it as he should. Like, he knew the rules and didn't adhere to them. But like, I don't know, like, if this is supposed to be the big draw, if this is supposed to be like the collection of the best and the biggest star power in Hearthstone, I don't know, maybe treat them like it a little bit. Like, maybe treat them like the celebrities you're trying to put them on the pedestal of.
I don't know about that, dude. I don't know about that. I am not down for like diva behavior.
Oh,
like,
no. I'm not
reward that.
I'm not saying reward Firebat for not showing up. I'm saying don't have the system in place to be obnoxious in the first place. Like, why have such a variance on your start time? There's absolutely no need for it other than to be inconvenient.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, well, we'll just let it go this time because you're so famous, Firebat. I'm just saying, like, why are you putting these players in this place anyway? Why do you think Dog isn't in GM anymore? It's not worth Dog's time. Dog can make more money and have a more convenient life elsewhere. And that's just going to continue. Like, here we are. I don't know. How many years have we had at Hearthstone esports? 6?
Many.
6? 6th year in a row of Hearthstone esports being kind of a joke, like, and not being taken seriously, either by players or by the fans or by the multi-billion-dollar studio that puts it together.
No, dude, like, I completely agree. Like, I really don't understand why they, like, again, you run the broadcast whenever you want to run the broadcast, but I don't understand, especially when we are in a situation where everything is virtual. I don't understand why we're not pre-recording this stuff. I don't understand why we're making casters and players like wait around for hours and hours and hours for the previous regions to finish. I think it's ridiculous. Like it's a bad rule set, but that doesn't change the fact that it is the rule set. So I absolutely agree with the disqualifications. I agree with the fines. You guys signed a contract. Like that's the way jobs work. So I completely agree with Blizzard's actions in all of this. I don't think that the base rule set is a good rule set. Like, I think that they should have made some changes, and I think that they should take a look at their broadcast, even like not even waiting for, you know, the next season of Grandmasters. Like, I think this is something that they should look at and address and be ready to change now. And I think we've seen, you know, the balance team, the Battlegrounds team, like everybody's been so flexible and so, you know, responsive that it would be really too bad if the esports team wasn't also responsive. Because I think it's something that needs to change. Like I am down with you guys. I agree that the rules behind this are bad, but I think that, you know, all of these players had the same option as Dog. They could have walked away. They didn't have to play in Grandmasters, but they signed a contract, and these are the rules of the contract. They've been public forever. Like, this is the way that Grandmasters has worked. It might be stupid, but it's not new.
Nothing more to add.
All right, then. So to get to the actual gameplay and not the ridiculous drama. So we talked a little bit about it when we were talking about the change to mind render a few minutes ago. But one thing in America is that even the casters highlighted as well was the amount of priest bans. It seemed like players just really didn't want to play matches against priest, because the games go long, there's so much variance, there's so much value and crazy generation of stuff that they would rather just, instead of playing like against priest that has this amazing amount of variance that you have to deal with and you have to predict, just play against something else that you know its game plan and you know its cards. Which again, we talked with Mind Render that maybe priest needs a look, because to me, if I'm going into a game, if I'm looking at the top level of my esport, I don't want to be picking stuff because they're a pain in the butt to play against. Like, I want to be banning things that are like going to go against my strategy or are the most powerful thing. And, you know, like that's the way, at least to me, bans should be used. So if players are banning decks just because there's too much variance and they're, you know, they're not strong, they're just annoying, that's not a great, that means priest to me is not in a great place.
I agree. Like, everyone knows my thoughts on priest. I'm not gonna continue to beat the priest horse.
Well, it seems, yeah, but it seems like the GMs are very much agreeing with you at this point in time. Now, not everybody banned priest, but there were more priest bans, I think, in Americas at least. So, again, no EU8 and no APAC, but
putting on my devil's advocate pants, which are fabulous pants, by the way. Maybe the meta is in a decent enough spot that you can afford to just ban what you don't feel like playing against.
Maybe, you know, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Sure. You know, if you're getting into a point where your deck is just powerful or your lineup is just powerful and you can basically compete against whatever your opponent throws at you, and you have the luxury of just banning stuff that doesn't interest you as an opponent, maybe that is a good place. I don't know. Honestly, I would really like you guys to write in and know what you think about bans, because this was the first time in a long time I can remember people banning stuff for it's not fun to play against. There's too much variance. Like, I don't like that I can't predict the outcome. Normally bans are just, this is the objectively strongest deck and I'm either banning it or I'm building a lineup around beating it. And so we're in this, like, this is the first time I can remember where bans have been based on, you know, card generation, variance, and value and game length and those kind of factors. So yeah, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's not what we're used to for sure. And so, yeah, we've already talked a lot about Priest today, so it's just bringing up very similar feelings that I had to when we had our mind render conversation of just like, I think they're doing interesting things, and I think we do need to take some time with it, but still. Anyways,
There was also another new, at least new to me, archetype. I hadn't seen this before, and it's the Turtle Mage. It's the Tortolin with the spell that I can't remember the name of that gives you 1/1 copies of things, and the idea is you're hoping that spell stays in your deck, and you just keep getting 1/1 Tortolin dudes over and over again. It's such a weird deck. And Muzzy 3-0'd it playing against Eddie, but then I saw Eddie play it and actually like win games with it. And I was just like, what is this deck? I still don't quite get it, other than it just seems like you're hoping your opponent gives up. Like they just have enough. It's just, I don't know. It's bleh. I didn't find it very fun to watch. It was like he wasn't ever really doing anything. He was just not dying, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it's still doing a lot of freezy things. I mean, they don't go as far as running Blizzard, which you were talking about, like the New Age freeze mage deck last week. But mages they're making friends with like Shinvala and Brain Freeze and Ray of Frost right now. Like that is definitely in the majority of mage decks at the moment. There's the Tortolin kind of variant that you're talking about. I didn't think Muzzies ran the Tortolin.
No, it doesn't. Muzzy, so Eddie only had the Turtle Mage deck left, and then Muzzy 3-0'd it with his 3 decks.
Gotcha.
So he was playing, Eddie got his other 2 wins, and then Muzzy was like, "This deck is stupid. Win."
Muzzy's playing like the Tempo Mage that is quite the hotness right now. But yeah, the Tortolin Mage deck is wild. I was seeing a lot of Twitter chatter around it. Give it a shot, because it is a nutty deck.
It's so weird. It's like to the point that there were games that Eddie was playing it. I think it was the first game that we actually saw it on stream, and he basically drew both copies of that 4-mana spell. And I really wish I remembered the name of it, but like he drew both copies, and they're like, he can't win now. I was like, what is this deck? Like, what is going on? It's nuts. And when it gets going, it's kind of crazy to see it get going. But yeah, it's just weird, man.
Yep.
If you guys haven't seen it, go look for it. It's Turtle Mage. It has the Tortolin Pilgrims and this 4-mana make 1/1 spells. Potion of Illusion. Thank you, chat room. Potion of Illusion. So yeah, go look for decks that run those 2 and see if you can figure it out. And go and watch Eddie playing it, because it was just crazy. One other thing that I noticed, not necessarily that I noticed like watching the players, but that I noticed the casters commenting on, and it kind of like it was starting to really anger me, was that the casters were talking so much. And I mean, it's definitely their job to talk about how to play the deck, talk about potential misplays, talk about lethals and everything else. But I thought that they were coming down on the players really, really hard, considering it was America's, considering, they were playing so late and like so long into the night and everything else. It was within a week or whatever of the expansion launching. Like, they basically didn't have a ton of practice time. They were super fatigued because, again, they had this whole Swiss round they've been playing since Wednesday. Like, I think there were very valid reasons for players not making like the perfect ideal plays. And it wasn't just that the casters were calling them out. The casters were really coming down on them. And I was like, dudes, calm down, man. Like, cut them some slack. That was just how I felt as a viewer anyways. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but the casters were mean this week.
It didn't stick out to me. Maybe we watched different games. It's always kind of something.
Like I had it on in the background too, so mostly I was just listening to the audio as opposed to actually being able to watch the actual game. And so like all I've got in my ears is the casters being like, misplay, these guys are supposed to be the best. Why?
I love that. I'm
like they didn't try at all.
I love that today. I think we're going to end with me going, we should treat the players better, give them more reasonable schedules, and be nice to them on that regard. And you're like, no, F it. That's the rules. Just show up. But talk nicer to them. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe just play the game correctly and people won't make fun of you.
Oh man, yeah, definitely the GM conversations all over the place this week for sure. It was a crazy week in Americas.
Yeah, that's honestly is me more doing a bit, but I didn't really notice it. It's something I've been noticing with like StarCraft recently. Like Tasteless and Artosis totally rip on people when they're not playing right, but that game, like, it's long in the tooth now. Like StarCraft is kind of figured out. So
whereas this is a week into a new, really nutty, really powerful, crazy expansion. So I feel like, you know, if they're still making the same mistakes 3 and 4 weeks from now, sure. But, you know, it's week 1. Jeez.
Hey, it's late for the casters too. Maybe they were cranky.
Maybe they were. Yeah. Maybe the casters were super, super cranky. That's true.
Maybe I had a very long day, which I did. And so when we get on the subject of esports not being taken very seriously in Hearthstone, I just go, this is Hearthstone's esports. They never take it seriously. And I'm kind of over this shit. Like, I'm just kind of, I give up.
Yeah.
I give up.
But yeah, so for GM, if you guys are looking to follow it next week, or I guess this week is starting today, I guess. Oh my God, it's Wednesday already, is the last hero standing week. And then Specialist, which Specialist is kind of interesting because you don't ban in Specialist. So yeah, we'll have to see. It could just be the week of Priest. And I'll be honest, if everyone brings Priest to Specialist, I might not watch.
Oh yeah, I do not want to watch a ton of Priest mirrors. I wouldn't mind a few, because that's a crazy mirror matchup. But
yeah, but not the whole weekend.
No, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's GM in a very, very, very large nutshell.
Yeah, shielded conquest would be interesting again to introduce a little more Priest play, but maybe not too much of it. But you know, we'll see how it plays out. So. Anyways, we have one more sponsor to thank for today's episode before we get into Battlegrounds talk, and we've got quite a bit to talk about because it was a pretty big patch on the Battlegrounds front. But that sponsor is Stamps.com. They're back sponsoring this episode of The Angry Chicken. I don't like it. Josh, you and I all the time talk about we don't like, you know, having to put on like real pants to go out. Yeah, especially after this year. I've gotten so used to
pants are the worst.
Just like, why? Why bother? Why? You can just like live in pajama pants or oversized comfy boxers or something of that nature. So I really don't like when I need to go out to mail or ship something. Sometimes there's also a line to deal with on top of the fact that I had to leave my house. Ugh. You know, so Stamps.com is here to help with all of that. And thousands of small business owners have discovered the benefits of Stamps.com in recent months, and they've been able to keep their businesses running and avoid crowds at the post office, all from their home computers. So you should go check them out because they bring all the mailing and shipping services you need, like right to your computer. Audio listeners, I'm gesturing to the monitor that's in front of my face. So, you know, whether you're a small business that's just sending invoices, an online seller, shipping out products, or just working from home and you need to mail stuff, and that is the category that I fall firmly into, Stamps.com can handle it all with ease. Right now, TAC listeners, you can get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. Simply go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in TAC. Again, remember, that's Stamps.com, and enter TAC when you click on the little microphone icon. We thank you for using that code, and we thank Stamps.com for their support. And we thank Team 5 for the Battleground update that we are now going to talk about.
Have a good battle, friend.
18.0.2 continues on this episode of The Angry Chicken because that's the majority of this was a Battlegrounds update. And right off the bat, Jocelyn, Megasaur, Arcane Cannon, and the hero, Lady Vosh, they're gone.
Gone.
Megasaur, gone.
It's about time.
Megasaur, more like Lamosaur.
Wow. The one that I was a little bit surprised about was Arcane Cannon, because Arcane Cannon came in with the pirate update, and I didn't think, I mean, as much as it was a little bit annoying, it was along the same lines as Juggler, and You know, it was okay. I didn't think it was crazy OP. It was maybe not as fun to play against, but I've never necessarily found random juggles as a fun game mechanic, and juggler with demons is still in there. So, you know, it is what it is. But I was a little bit surprised that Arcane Cannon was taken out. I didn't think it was nearly as big an offender as some of the other like crazy, super powerful cards.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't mind it. I always use it as kind of the stitch. If I had kind of a weird early game with not much else going on, it's like, whatever, throw this in there and let's go. And then I wanted to get away from it as soon as possible because I really did believe that it was a trap card. It's like you would find that double and you're like, I'm going to hold on to this for dear life because Golden was good. Golden Cannon was good.
Yeah, the Golden Cannon was good. Yeah.
But on average,
even then, it wasn't good the whole entire game, or at least I found that it was never good the whole entire game. Like at some point, you needed to move away from it. It was good early and mid, but by late game, it's like, yeah, no, you need to be doing more than what Cannon is doing.
I still liked it with Murlocs because of it would get rid of Divine Shields.
Yeah.
But you're right. And like on average, you would have to hold on to the cannon for far too long to actually complete the triple. And you know what late game cannon strategy is? It's the same as early games cannon strategy. Have minions with low health that die. That ain't gonna win you the game.
Yeah.
It's not gonna win you Battlegrounds. So yeah, I never thought Arcane Cannon was particularly overpowered, but whatever the case is, it's not in the game anymore. You don't need to worry about it. Juggler still is, but at this point, Josh, I don't know about you, it feels like it's been so long since Juggler was like the hot meta thing to try and put together. It feels like a novelty if I end up going a Juggler comp. So yeah, anyways, we're getting increased attack values on a couple of our beasts here. Rabid Sauralisk going from a 3-2 up to a 4-2. So it's been working out just a little bit, just working out its little iguana arms. Actually, I need something for scale on the Rabid Sauralisk. Is this like an iguana sized lizard, or are we talking like Komodo dragon size? Because maybe
I think it's bigger than that. I mean, I feel like it's like the size of like a dog, or maybe even bigger. Like I feel like, yeah, that's a big Sauralisk.
Well, I mean, it grows, so maybe it starts as like a lizard sized lizard, and eventually becomes a dragon sized lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rat Pack is changing tiers, going from tier 2 to tier 3. This one strikes me as odd.
This one strikes me as like 4 months too late.
Yeah, the first. I think we were talking when this dropped. We just happened to be like chatting over Discord, and I think "late" was the first word that fell out of my mouth. I was just like, "This just seems late."
Yeah,
because like Deathwing aside, it doesn't seem like Rat Pack really gets there anymore. This isn't the beast that like carries you to the late game winning beast comp anymore the way it used to. Although now it maybe sort of kind of can, because let's talk about Mama Bear showing up earlier than we're used to.
Mm-hmm. And Pack Leader going down the tier before, which means that you can basically like Pack Leader into Rat Pack and then get, more guaranteed dudes. So
yeah, in that way, I do look at it as a buff, because yeah, as you naturally level up through the tavern, it makes a lot more sense. I never had an issue with, I'm talking classic beast comp here, not macaw beast comp. But the classic beast comp of, having death rattles with mama bears, I was okay with the fact that like, all right, you're up to tier 6, you found your mama bear. It's time to like rebuy beasts and redeploy them so they get the mama bear buff. But it always did seem weird that Pack Leader came after Rat Pack. It's like, I'm like in the early game still. I don't want to be like redeploying beasts to get value out of my Pack Leader. And now, well, it could still happen because of how things roll and how you find your minions, right? But now at least the natural evolution of tavern tiering up makes sense as far as beast synergy is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is probably a good thing for it's a really good thing for Beast. I think Pack Leader being at tier 2 is so strong. Like Beast definitely got a lot stronger with this patch, which is good because they weren't in the greatest place to begin with. I'm a very distracting cat right now. But yeah, like the beasts weren't necessarily in the greatest place. And I think a lot of these changes are kind of geared towards making them a much more interesting and viable comp.
Yeah. Also, did you notice there's a little more feel good in the Rat Pack change than there used to be? Have you ever, Jocelyn, lost to a board that had Rat Pack, but you take out the Rat Pack like in the last attack and you lose and you're like, man, it just dropped 2 tokens. I'm taking the same damage as if I hadn't killed the Rat Pack. Well, now, Jocelyn, if it's a completely unbuffed Rat Pack, you just took 1 damage off the board.
There you go.
So it feels slightly better.
Feels a little bit okay.
Slightly better. But yeah, I really like Pack Leader it too. As much as I like the Rat Pack, I'm like, synergy-wise makes more sense, but overall it's like, it wasn't really the hotness it used to be. Pack Leader it too, really dig it. Just builds the road to Beasts for like the whole game, which Beasts always kind of struggled with.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Pack Leader start off at 4?
I
feel like it used to be much higher. Like, because this is not Pack Leader's first change. I feel like it used to be up in 4, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but yeah, wow. Like this seems like it's super, super strong. It's basically like flipping Beasts kind of on their head.
So no, according to the wiki, this is the only change.
Oh, is it really? I thought Pack Leader used to be up at 4. What was it for then?
Unless the wiki is incomplete, but yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't really matter. The point is, at 2, it's a very, very, very good minion. So yes. Yeah, and what Beast needed for sure. Then we also got an attack buff on Monstrous Macaw, so that's up to 4 attack now, which great. Like, again, the attack on the Macaw. I guess it also got a health buff too, right? So it's a 4/3 instead of a 3/2. But man, why are we helping Macaw? Well, its stats are not why you play it.
Correct, but sometimes you get really lousy options and you maybe need to take it, even if you don't have a comp that benefits from the Macaw. And so at least now you're not getting like understated for the tavern tier of the minion. I actually kind of dig this change. If you can tell, Jocelyn, I haven't had particularly lucky games lately. But yeah, that one to me, it's like, and also with like classic Beasts starting to make a comeback because of the way you can kind of just can we coin Tavern Curve? Like you can Tavern Curve through the Beasts. It makes more sense, and Monstrous Macaw just doesn't really fit in until you find the Goldrin, which has been a tier 6 minion for a little while now. And so yeah, it's like, it's not like you're drafting this like and you're stoked about it. So now you get a little more, I don't know. If you're taking it just for the minion, it needed the help.
It's better now. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So Primal Fin Lookout also going down a tier. So a little like, which had Megasaur not been removed, I would have been like, I'm sorry, what? Could you explain this to me?
They made a really, really good change. And I feel like this is just going to be the way things kind of move in Battlegrounds now, is that when you actually discover with Primal Fin, you're only getting your current tavern tier and lower. So there's no more super crazy way before your time high rolling. Yeah, which is super interesting too, because it makes this the type of card that is much more attractive the higher the tavern tier you are than just slamming it on 4. Although if you're slamming on 4, you're primary Murlocs, and hey, if you got a brand, you probably still want to do it because you need the buffs now. You need them. Yes, you need very, very much so. Yeah, and you need to discover all 6 of your freaking poison guys, your Tox Fins. yes, or find Amalgadons, which Primal Fin is not going to do unless you're on tier 6. Yeah, and even then, it's a chance it may not find it for you. Yeah, that's a really cool, very interesting change that shifts things pretty drastically. So. But I like that change nonetheless. All right, Nat Pagel. Nat Pagel he got totally revamped. You sexy bastard. I've been so annoyed with you because there have been games where Nat Pagel has ended up randomly assigning me more damage than had I not had a single minion on board to begin with. And that's all changing now. So used to be overkill, summon a 0/2 treasure chest that makes you rage. Now, Nat Pagel Extreme Angler reads, when this attacks and kills a minion, add a random minion to your hand. And this follows the same rules as the Primal Fin change, where minions that are generated by Nat are from your tavern tier below. So if you like triple into him, so if you like triple and you're on 4 and you get your 5 and you get Nat, he's still going to generate 4 or lower for you unless you tavern up. So
this one, I don't think I would have minded if they hadn't put that stipulation on the card.
No?
No, because it's a random minion, so it's just as likely to get like a 1 star. And and he has to kill a minion to trigger this effect still. He does, yeah. And it's just kill. It's not overkill anymore. Correct. So if he does, evenly trade or whatever, it'll still give you your minion. So if nothing else, he's giving you, gold because you can just sell off whatever he gives you and you're done. So even if it's a crappy minion, he's helping you with your economy. So I like this design because, again, it's not giving you like crazy high roll ridiculous. Like, I mean, sometimes I would get like ship into Peggle into ridiculous stuff out of my treasure chests. And, it would go crazy when I didn't even have him on my board to start with. Like, yeah. And obviously those are random high roll after random high roll situations, but it seemed to at least stick in my head that it happened a lot. Yeah. And since chat room is asking, no, the golden does not give you a random golden minion. It gives you 2 random minions. And
which is really good, because if Golden Peggle gave you golden minions, that would just...
Again, it's like
so snowbally.
You gotta find 3 of Nat Peggle, and it means you're taking Nat Peggle. I think this effect is cool, and I think it is actually really well designed around Pirates Battlegrounds theme, because like if nothing else, this is like an econ play because it could generate free minions, free cards, which plays to your economy, and it's very much like the soul of Battlegrounds Pirates.
Yes,
but I don't think Nat Peggle Extreme Angler is a good card. So yeah, again, I almost want them to like just like hotfix it, be like, we're gonna take these restrictions off Nat Peggle and just see how it goes. Just see how it goes. Just why not? But let's get to the other like big kind of insert your mouth agape YouTube thumbnail here. Mama Bear is now Tavern Tier 5 instead of Tavern Tier 6. Mama Bear also slimmed down a bit. Mama Bear is a 4/4 instead of a 5/5 and gives +4/+4 instead of +5/+5.
Yeah.
But
which I think is fine.
Definitely. This is a powerful effect to find at Tavern Tier 5.
This is like you were already thinking about swapping to beasts if you like tripled into a Mama Bear at 6. I feel like if you find a Mama Bear on 5, you're just like, I am beast now. I am checking out all of my other comp, no matter what it was, and I am beast now.
Look at me. I am beast now.
I am beast.
I am beast now. Yeah. I dig this change. The first game where I like kind of got beasts rolling, found a second Mama Bear. That was cool. Had like 2 Mama Bears on board. Didn't work out too well. Kind of ran out of space, but but I'm not something I'm used to, and not something I pulled off in quite a while. Since I'm not really, I wasn't chasing Mama Bear comps before this. Because leading up into this, it was still like all Goldrin, all Macaw, all the time if you want to win with beasts. And that is still a viable strategy to go because Goldrin got slightly buffed. The death rattle in Goldrin got changed from a +4/+4 to a +5/+5. So +5/+5 to your beast lives on, but still at Tavern Tier 6, and now it is on Goldrin.
Yeah, and I think this is good, interesting. I like that comp can still potentially happen and work. I'm down for this. This is fine.
Yes. Yeah. Me too. I'm nowhere near having my head wrapped around what the meta is now.
Well, it's still super new, right?
Yes,
like
it hit yesterday.
The patch was yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But like overall, I like these changes. It's been, this is the first time I've like obviously noticed people that didn't read the patch notes. The amount of games I've been in where people are just slamming Murlocs like it's their job have been hilarious. They're just sitting there going, are you George? Because if you're not, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Still makes sense with Bran, I think. Big booty Murlocs worked before, and it can still work now. Obviously, I think George's stock has gone up, for sure. But yeah, overall, just having a good time. But let's talk about the heroes. So we talked about Vosh going away. We mentioned to Eudora at the top of the show because you finally got her, of course. After
I did, yeah. After the nerf,
she got nerfed. So yeah, her. You now have to dig 5 times on Eudora instead of 4 to get a golden minion, which just completely takes the dig on 1 and dig on every turn after that strategy, and just crumples it up and chucks it out the window.
Oh, I still did that, and it still worked fine.
Well, you leveled up at very specific points, and usually earlier than you were supposed to, because by your second dig, you could just tavern up to 5 and discover a golden, have a chance of well, you would discover a regular 6 minion out of whatever golden you got, and it didn't matter. And now you can't hit that as early as you used to be able to. It used to be very, very specific. On this turn, I can hit this level and discover this thing. And that's now out the window and delayed by 2 turns, which is a lot in Battlegrounds.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I haven't played Eudora since this change. I think this is going to impact her pretty heavily. But yeah.
Maybe it's because I didn't know what it was like to play with her before, so I didn't have all of the, exact turns down and whatever. But I just pressed my hero power every single turn, and I did get a token on 1. So I just kept pressing my hero power, no big deal. And then it was I just made sure I did it every turn, and then every once in a while I'd be like, "Ooh, free minion."
Yes, yeah, it's still going to be the way you're going to have to play her, right? It's just that it's clearly. Obviously.
It definitely disrupts the ideal curve that you used to have, for sure.
Yeah. So absolute low numbers of games played, but she has dropped to tier 4 if I sort by. I mean, that still puts her above. So maybe my game was just a fluke.
It was super lucky. I mean, I was offered tokens. I froze because I was offered 2 alley cats, so I, bought 1, sold so I could dig, bought the second one. So and then my golden minion was the spawn of N'Zoth. So it all worked out really, really, really well for me. I got a great golden minion before I went up to the next tier sort of thing. And yeah, so, I mean, I got lucky. I know I got lucky, but yeah, I mean, she played fine to me. Just she's not broken anymore like she was.
Yeah. I mean, it puts her above heroes like Patches. I love playing Patches. Curator is a popular pick for everybody. She's still above a decent chunk of heroes, but low. And also take this with a giant grain of salt. It's been a day, so
yeah.
Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just saw I haven't actually looked at the stats. I didn't see where Lich King fell. Holy shit. Before we talk about that, let's talk about Reno Jackson. Gotta Be Rich has been buffed once again to now cost 0 mana. Nada, nothing, zip, zilch, no mana, gold. No gold whatsoever.
Just free. Once a game free. Yep. Crazy.
I had him offered to me once. Unfortunately, I didn't get a particularly great draft and ended up just kind of going down the demon path and had to go golden soul juggler to just try and stay alive. And it didn't work out well, but I probably survived longer than I would have if it weren't for being able to buy a juggler and golden it on the same damn turn because I didn't have to pay for my hero power.
Yeah.
So I like this a lot. I already liked Reno. We knew this.
I can't believe it's all the way down to nothing. Free Reno hero power, free golden is just, it's crazy. It doesn't disrupt your economy at all. You can just use your hero power. You can use it early on. You can use it late game. This is pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. Cool. I like it. But yeah, I think Reno's a little nutty.
Again, only a day. Reno has landed above Deathwing and Pyramid to give you an idea of how well this is working out for our good friend Reno, our lovable idiot. Yeah. All right, Lich King. Oh, I'm going to throw a party. Yes, I am. So, Reborn Rights. You may not. I'm just going to do a reminder because you probably avoided this terrible hero like the plague. It used to be 1 gold, and it's give a friendly minion reborn for the next combat only. It is now 0 and gives a friendly minion reborn for the next combat only. And Lich King is now the #1 winningest hero in the last day.
I am not surprised because this hero power was powerful anyways. Like I'm not really sure why after the change to allow you to target a friendly minion instead of it affecting the, I guess, rightmost minion is how it worked before, right?
Yes.
Rightmost or leftmost. I'm pretty sure it was right. Anyways.
Rightmost.
Yeah. So you had to like mess with your positioning in order to make it work. And then so after they changed it to targeted, I really wasn't sure why people didn't play and didn't choose Lich King as often. But now for free, I mean, you could start doing this right away. Like turn 1, getting your stuff to come back and have reborn is nuts.
Yeah, well, they didn't take it because he still wasn't winning. Like he was still performing very poorly, and I was really excited. You can go back and listen to that episode when they changed it to be just targeted. I was stoked. It fixed a major issue with the hero power, but now it's 0. There's like no reason not to.
Yeah,
ever. Like 1/1 divine shield value on turn 1. It's amazing. Like it's just it's silly. So yeah, the only Lich King game I played since yesterday. It was a first place. It was a handy, like easy first place.
What was your what did you choose for minion type?
You give me a second. I'm gonna look up my recording real fast, and hopefully it won't mess with anything, and we'll see where I ended because I did end up recording this game. I apparently really this is
really.
Oh, I named this wrong. This is the wrong game. That's my Reno. Wait, what in the F?
This is great for the audio.
Oh, no, I lost it. It's missing.
Oh, no.
I have a duplicate. Oh, no, here it is. That's very strange. I shouldn't have done that. It was a random amalgamation of crap. I had, this is the first.
Those are my favorite comps. I feel like those are just Joss comps. Random crap.
So I got to cast this one. This one was amazing. This is the first time I've ever found so many tier 6 minions. I didn't know how to play the game. So I ended this game with a golden Amalgadon, a golden Goldrin, a golden Hydra, and I think I missed out and misplayed and missed out on a golden Myexna because I think it was the same turn I was trying to decide if I wanted to merge my Amalgadons or not. And the rope was burning, and it was nutty. It essentially ended on a beast comp. So never mind. This is not a random amalgamation of crap, but it was like it's not pretty. It's not like I have the Goldrin and the Macaw and all the things that make sense.
Yeah,
it's
all the thing that make it perfect. Yeah,
it's like no, I'm sorry. I just have Titanic minions from tier 6 that I'm not used to having this many of. It was an absolutely insane game. Never mind. This one probably not the best indicator of how good Lich King is because I got lucky. This is probably my single luckiest game of Battlegrounds since it came out.
But I mean, at the same time, like Lich King, again, with the free hero power, why would you not use it? And it doesn't impact your gameplay, your economy or anything like that. But the benefits of this hero power are just crazy, you know, with death rattle things, with divine shield things. There's a lot you can do that's really interesting with the Lich King and his new comp and his new style. You know, I'm stoked to hopefully get to play. I've played against him. I've played against him before. But yeah, I haven't actually played as him yet. So it'll be fun.
I think you'll enjoy it. I think you're going to have a good time. So, and then finally Gallacrond, Gallacrond's hero power, the one that's like replace a minion in Bob's Tavern with one from a higher tavern tier. It now also freezes the minion.
Which should be mentioned that it freezes the minion, but it doesn't work like Maiev. So if you like use the hero power and freeze the minion and then roll, you will lose that minion.
Yeah.
Not speaking from experience at all.
Oh, okay. Then I will not say my next statement.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to hold my follow-up comment, which is going to be...
It was late at night, okay?
It would start with, but why would you... Anyways, nonetheless, yeah, this is a good
Why
improvement.
would you? Because Joss reasons. That's why.
It's a good improvement. I don't think it's good enough. I think Gallacrond is still probably like bottom tier hero, even with this adjustment.
Lots of people are playing him. I've had not only Gallacrons, but I've had Finleys choosing Gallacron's power. And obviously you don't know what else they were offered, but I've seen a lot of people messing around with this. So not saying it's good, but it's definitely seeing some play. Again, probably just people messing around with it because we're within the first day of the patch.
Yeah. So, I'm surprised Nefarian wasn't taken out since Divine Shield Murlocs are no longer a concern outside of George games. That was the other thing that was kind of rattling around my brain was like, because now I'm looking at it, I'm like, not enough data on Nefarian. And I'm just like, yeah, of course. Why would you? I forgot he was still in the game. But yeah, overall, I like this. It's a brave new meta we find ourselves in over in Battlegrounds. It's relaxing not to worry about Murlocs.
Yes. I mean, I very much enjoyed all of my games, all of my lobbies that didn't have Murlocs in them. And I feel like now we're in a place where we can, have Murlocs. They're a little bit more balanced. It takes a little bit more effort. You don't just have everybody in a Murloc lobby forcing it, and whoever gets the best drafts ends up winning the lobby. There's a little bit more strategy to it. It takes a little bit more time because you have to find all your Toxfins. You have to, do all of that kind of stuff. You're not guaranteed Wind Fury, Divine Shield shenanigans. Like there's a lot that has changed about how to play Murlocs that brings them in line with everybody else. So I think we're back in a better place now. So I'm stoked about new Battlegrounds meta.
Yeah. As am I. There's a weird little sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach that's like, I think Murlocs might have kept some things in check because it kind of feels like, and I'm guilty of this, I had a rockin' dragon game earlier. It was great. Found an early Caligos. It was like there was just jack anyone could do to upset my game plan at that point. There's still a Malgadon. It helps a lot. I'm so loving, what's the word I'm looking for? Menagerie comps now. Like I really, really like them. And I'm getting a lot of Murloc play out of that. Like I'm kind of back to my always wanted to keep a relatively beefy poison Murloc around. Like just see where it goes, just see where the winds take me. It's like
right, but you're not necessarily going like crazy full all in on Murlocs, and that was the big problem is that everyone was going. You'd have like 4 to 5 people, if not more, in your lobby just hard pushing Murlocs, and that's not fun.
No, I don't want to see that. And I'm glad they didn't get rid of Brand 2. I saw a lot of much like Kael'thas. I saw a lot of it in our community of folks being like Kael'thas should be just the 3rd spell and out. And I saw a lot of people being like, get rid of Bran as well. That's also part of the problem. And while they're not wrong, I mean, Murlocs can be extremely powerful with Bran. I think getting rid of both is just going to be too much.
Yeah. No, I think it's better to have kind of a more conservative approach to this and not be like nuke them from orbit, like still try to, again, bring them in line. Don't kill them. Right. That's a better way to try to balance a game than just like, this has been too powerful for too long. Nuke it. Like, that's not good. Yeah.
I'd like Kazjar in the chat room saying Bran takes enough work to be fair. That's kind of my feeling with Bran. You got to find the Bran in the first place, and then you need to find enough Murloc buffs to have made that investment worth it. And if you don't,
and you need to have space on your board and things like poison. You don't get double poison.
There's no brand value from that.
Yeah, exactly. Megasaur was 100% the problem.
Bran comes down and is just like, all right, now target a second minion with your Toxfin. It's like, thanks, Bran. You're such a gentleman.
Cleaving poison or super ultra mega poison. Like, can you imagine cleaving poison?
Yep. Overkill, do excess damage to adjacent minions on a Murloc that could get poisonous would be gross. Yeah, I don't want to think about this. Don't put ideas in your head.
Sorry.
Charon's asking if we think they should put Scale Lord in. I think it's too early. I'm saying like there's a feeling, there's something in my stomach that says Murlocs were
That's the dragon that gives Murlocs Divine Shield, right?
Yes.
Just so we're clear. Okay.
Yes. There's something I have a feeling that like Murlocs played a stronger role than maybe a lot of us were giving credit to into the overall meta and the balance of Battlegrounds. But it's too early. I want some time. I've lived through months of. It felt a solid month. It felt like 2, where almost every lobby there were upwards of half the lobby trying to force Murlocs. And it was
that was my feeling too, is that, just so many people were forcing it, and you could go other comps, because I was one of those people. I legit still didn't know how to play Murlocs, because it was never my favorite thing to play in a lobby. So I really like pirates. I really like dragons. I really liked beasts. I even liked mechs. So I would always play something else, and just everyone was forcing it. And I was just like, this is not fun, because any other comp that I did, anything that was going, for buffs, like board wide buffs and health buffs and everything else, it's just like, man, they were buffing health, they were buffing attack, they had poison, they had divine shield. And it was just like, no matter what I was going for in the other minion tribes, I was just unable to compete. And because everyone was pushing Murlocs, people would be dying super early, or they'd be going Murlocs. So I had my choice of the other minion tribes and still wasn't able, even with really, really good comps and other minion types, wasn't able to compete. So I got a lot of second places. And when I would get second place, it was always to Divine Shield, Poison, Murlocs. And that just overall eventually started to feel really bad, where it was like, okay, it very much almost made Battlegrounds wins feel a whole lot like Flurgle and his win curve, right? It's like you made the choice going into Battlegrounds that you were just going to be the Murloc guy, and then you either came first or you came last, because you either got the Murlocs and nobody else, and everybody else had no luck and died first, and then you had your pick of Murlocs and you were able to build the crazy comp. But in every other lobby when that didn't happen for you, you were one of the ones that died, first or second, you were first or second out of the lobby. There wasn't a whole lot of in between. So, that kind of put everybody else in the in between. So I felt, as a non-Murloc player, like I was sitting there getting, second, third, fourth, fifth, a whole lot. And I was just like, man, I just can't crack into that number 1 spot, because I don't play Murlocs. I don't find them interesting or fun. So I stay away from them, and I play all the other minion types that I enjoy. So yeah, it wasn't creating a great meta. It wasn't creating a fun space. And like I said, I really love the lobbies when Murlocs weren't there. So that's really saying something. And I think this change, just the changes that they've made in this patch are moving things in a really good direction. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do go in patches to come, because we know they change Battlegrounds all the time. So I'm very much expecting that Scale Lord is on their list of things that they could potentially do in a later patch, but I don't think it needs to be done right now. I think they can see how the Megasaur change works. And if Murlocs just become the new mechs, then maybe they make a change later on.
So without looking at stats, what tribe or comp do you think should get some love next?
I think maybe mechs. I don't see a whole lot of people playing them. They don't feel particularly powerful. And I think maybe the change that I would make would just kind of be endgame, because I think they're okay through the beginning and the middle. It's more that they can't compete as much in the end game as some of the other tribes that just get really, really big and really powerful. They don't really have that big beefy end game. And now that they're playing with the idea, with Bigglesworth and his hero power, of not only getting minions, but keeping buffs, I would almost like to see the tier 6 minion. Is it the somebody's apprentice? Kangor's apprentice? The 3/6 that brings back the first 2 mechs that die.
Oh, it is Kangor's apprentice. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to see that bring back the first 2 mechs that die and all of their, buffs or, whatever, instead of just bringing back the base minion. Because I think that would be a really interesting end game piece for a mech comp that, you know, maybe it'd be too powerful, but right now they feel very underwhelming in the super end game. So
they're like the safest comp, in my opinion, and also I'm looking at stats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my total off the cuff, no stat to back it up, just feel of my Battlegrounds lobbies.
That's my answer too, is mech. It's historically, it's been like my favorite comp since day one. Loved mech, but they just can't bring home the bacon. Their lowest average placement is first place.
Wait, what?
So your average placement between 1 and 8, their lowest amount of finishes are in first.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I thought you were saying that their average placement was first, and I was like, what?
No.
How?
No, their highest average placement is third, followed closely by second, followed very closely by fourth.
Right. Okay.
And then peters off from there. So they're very good at like getting fourth or higher. They're very bad at winning.
Right.
Very, very bad. It's not a winning strategy, which is the problem with mech. They have a growth problem. They don't scale.
Yeah.
Though apparently pirates, lowest average placement overall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like pirates can be really powerful, but yeah, I'm actually really surprised because they feel like they grow a lot. You've got, although the thing is maybe that Gold Grubber, which is their really big kind of grower, is that it can go in any comp. So I feel like a lot of people are taking Gold Grubber just as soon as they start to get triples and they can be building on that minion. You don't need to be doing a pirate comp in order to make Gold Grubber work.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the problem, is that, you know, one of their really big minions that they should have on their board growing turn after turn gets kind of sniped up by everybody else. So it's hard to triple. It's hard to, you know, to get it early and it's inconsistent. Like, who knows? But maybe that's part of it.
Bearing on actual pirates. If you don't have Goldens, Gold Grubber, the only thing it's bringing is the pirate tag.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very good point. I love the design of that, by the way. I'd like to see more minions that we want to grab from other minion types and include in non like mono tribe compositions. But yeah, I think you kind of
they're almost like neutral minions in constructed Hearthstone, right? Like Spawn of N'Zoth is another really good example of that in tier 2, right? Is something that just, you know, anyone can make new use of. It just is generally a strong minion, and, you know, eventually you rotate it out of your comp as you get into late game. Like, those kind of things I think are really, really interesting. Same like Gold Grubbers kind of like might take the space of Spawn on your board, you know, once you start to get to the point of the game where you're finding triples and stuff. And I think you're right. That makes for really interesting games. That makes for really interesting lobbies, and, you know, having to make those kind of choices. But yeah, I'm totally lost my train of thought. But yes, I agree with you. Yes. To cap it off, I agree with you, Garrett.
I'm with you though. I'd like to see Max and Menagerie get just a little bit of love. I think Menagerie's close. I think it needs just something a little extra. I can't put my finger on what that is.
I find Menagerie really fun to play.
Yeah, I love it because it feels like this like weird party for things not going well. Like it's like what a random pile of bullshit. Yeah. And then I
guess we're light fanging.
And yeah, but then I look, I'm like, wait, I have like one of each minion type, and I found a light fang. Woo!
Yeah.
Like, I get excited. I love Menagerie. Like,
yeah. So do you think that we could, because I mean, Light Fang was a really, or Menagerie in general was a really oppressive comp for a while there. Do you think that we can, you know, maybe, is it safe to buff it up? Can we make some more changes to Light Fang? Like, can we go back down that path? Because I feel like everything in Battlegrounds just kind of is a little bit stronger than it was when Light Fang and Menagerie comps were at their peak.
I feel like Light Fang could get the extra health back on the buff for sure. That doesn't.
Right, because it was 1-2 originally, right?
I thought now it's 1-1. 2-2 originally. I'm pulling up the wiki again because my memory for this stuff is terrible.
I don't remember with Battlegrounds changing so often. It feels like it was
+2/+2.
Can't keep up. It was +2/+2. Okay.
Yep. Bringing Light Fang to tier 4 seems scary. Ophidian in the chat room, because it's still that was. if getting Lightfang on board early is the power in Lightfang is finding Lightfang early.
Yeah.
And so drastically changing how early you could find Lightfang would be scary. I guess my gut reaction to that is I think Lightfang is a minion that you should feel happy when you found it and you were already going Menagerie, not a minion that you find and changes you
and switch,
into going Menagerie.
Which is the way I feel like it was before. If you found an early Lightfang, you abandoned everything you were doing and you swapped to Lightfang. And now you don't necessarily do that. I wonder if, keeping it where it is, but then bringing back the old buffs or making it 1/2 or something, like playing with what it does, or maybe it's 2/2, but it only hits like 4 of your minions or something. I don't know. I'm not a balance designer. I don't know, but maybe they can play around with that.
I would not mind seeing more targeted tier 4 minions. I think Lightfang's too powerful, but since we're kind of because like what scares me is discovering a Lightfang off of like a triple when you on turn 5 when you're tavern up to turn 3, like that'd be ridiculous. Finding Lightfang, but basically no one has anything on 4 that they're like gunning for except big demons. If you're going big demons, you're trying to find your floating watcher, and that's really cool because the odd game here and there when I find myself, it threw me Wrathweavers and I'm making lemonade. It's cool. Like my brain changes. Any other basic game of Battlegrounds, I'm basically like tier 4 is crap. I'm like, I will just keep freezing as much. I will greedily freeze as much as I can to try and wait until I'm on 4 so I can discover a 5 instead of a 4. And then at that point, it's like, well, I'm going up to 5. Can I even just hold on it longer and just discover a tier 6 minion? Can I know? Oh, I'm dead. Okay. I didn't learn my lesson. Just so you know, Battlegrounds, I did not learn a lesson from this. But yeah, it's interesting. If anything else, just unnerf Lightfang. Like give the +1 health back, for crying out loud. I think that would help a lot. So that's kind of my thought there. But yeah, I'd love to see mechs sure up. Pirates, I think it really just comes down to, and chat room mentioned, and I agree with them, that Eliza is a little too much of a linchpin on the make or break for late game Pirates. And for some reason, it's more of a linchpin than Kalagos for dragons. Because Kalagos is just like more, if you find the Kalagos, it's like more guaranteed. Eliza like needs to survive, not get sniped, that kind of thing. If Kalagos gets sniped, once battle starts,
it doesn't matter.
The buffs are already the buffs. Yeah. So like in that way, but Pirates still has an end game. Like if I end up with a pirate comp, I'm like, I know what I'm drafting for. I know how I piece this together and possibly win the lobby. Don't have that for mech.
Yeah.
And that's what mech needs.
Yep. So yeah, just to bring it back around again, I think that their tier 6 minion is where they need to get some love, because I think they're fine for the majority of the game. They just don't have a way to get there. And I would like to see more things play with the way that Bigglesworth works, not to the point that you're doing it like all the way through, but just like doing something with the idea of keeping buffs on a minion, since they've clearly got that code in there somewhere. Just hang on to that data and give you that back. I want to see them play around with that.
Great. Well, I think this is a great place to end the episode.
Absolutely.
I can sit here and pick your brain about Battlegrounds for another hour, but we do have to call it at some point and eat dinner. So, folks, if you want to write in, you want to be a part of the show, send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com. If you are a patron, you can drop us a question right in the Discord. Don't be afraid to @ me as I drop a pen. If I'm around,
you're just putting some emphasis on that.
Happy to answer questions. You're not bugging me. If I can't answer, I won't. And if you like the show and you want to support us, the Patreon is the best way to do so. So check out patreon.com/TAC. Get yourself an ad-free version of the feed. Join the Discord. Make some friends. Huge thanks to our producers, by the way, Declan H. and Cheesy Bob. If you want to become a producer yourself, go over to patreon.com/TAC. Other than that, you can follow the show on Twitter @TAC Podcast. Everything, all the back episodes can be found at amove.tv. And you can join us live Wednesdays over at twitch.tv/AMoveTV. So come join, hang out, be a part of the chat room that we say things to. The names that maybe seem strange if you're listening to on audio. You can,
on auto.
On auto. In a car. Anyways, before we go, Joss, you do all sorts of other stuff. Where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joce Plays. You can also find links to everything I do over at joceplays.com. That's JOCEplays.com.
Fitting in the chat room wants to know how I listen on manual. In between shifts, I guess, is when I would press play. But I learned how to drive manual at a really late age, and I distinctly remember the first time I like shifted, took a drink, put it down, and shifted again, and I was like, "Oh, I'm good at this now." Like, I was just terrified to try and take a drink while driving. Folks, I'm on Twitter at Garrett Art with dumb stuff like what just left my mouth. You can hear things like that or read things like that over on Twitter. amove.tv for this podcast and every single other one that I produce myself. Put out a new WoW Killer this morning. We'll be doing a new Into the Nexus tomorrow, so go check those out. That's going to bring us to the end of this episode of The Angry Chicken. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Hope you're digging the new patch. And not that Firebat listens, but may you stay on schedule, sir. May you stay on schedule. Until next time. Job's done.
Job's done.
Oh, righty then. Where did my audio recording go? There you are. All right. Did you have fun, chat room? Good show? I know it was. Thanks. Thank you. I definitely gave you time to answer that. I'm the best host that ever lived. I know. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And we're off.
You don't have that power. You have no power here.
No, I meant to not give the chat room time to contradict you.
I misunderstood.
Thanks, Kilmornock. I was a little bit worried because I always feel like when I start talking about tournaments and rules and stuff, I feel like I'd lose people, but hopefully it was okay. And I wasn't too ranty and stuff.
I mean, I was just so done.
Yeah.
I was so just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a great chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I was messing with you. That was a bit. That was a bit. So if I lock you and then I do okay, that fixes it. Nice. All right, cool. Well, I am exporting the wave as we speak. Do the wave, chat room. I can't see you.
Oh my God. I feel like I've had to yawn for like an hour and I've just been like holding it back.
This has been the longest day of the year for me, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a really long few days for me at work. So, but it's all over now. Yay! Not work. I still have to work for the rest of the week, but our crazy, ridiculous task is complete.
Well, that's good. Tomorrow's Into the Nexus for me. It's a pretty standard week from here on out. So, all right, folks, I'm gonna bring the stream down. We're gonna get this posted. Go have some dinner. I don't actually know what's for dinner. I think it was Kajitar who asked. I don't know. Katie shops on Wednesday, so he just comes home with something surprising. So
yeah, I know Matt went out and got stuff, so I don't know what's going on for me for dinner, but it's probably gonna be delicious.
Sweet.
We have some Greek pasta salad in the fridge, so that'll probably be a side, and it's just so good.
I had to run around like crazy, but right before the show, so I got back and I was like really hungry because I had an early lunch, and I was just like, a snack, and I just like went ham on a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh my God, that's like one of my favorite cereals. So good.
One of my many trigger foods, without a doubt. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, chocolate Teddy Grahams.
Oh,
I will
interesting.
destroy a box of chocolate Teddy Grahams. Double stuffed Oreos is a problem.
Oh,
that is one that's strictly.
I can eat a whole box of those things, dude. Like that, I do not have an off switch when it comes to double stuffed Oreos.
Yeah, probably like my favorite like store-bought sweet thing. It's just freaking Oreos, man. I love Oreos. I really have a problem with Oreos. And then what else? There's one more. I lost it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think it's my favorite sweet thing in period is just like homemade chocolate chip cookies. I freaking love chocolate chip cookies. Like, just the best. Just the best. Like as much as I love like chocolate layer cake, you know, I got to get a plate and a fork. It's amazing. And even if I was in a world where I could have it whenever I wanted, it's just still just something about just chocolate chip cookie is like the perfect sweet, and you can just grab it and go. It's just the best. I can love them. Plain or flavored Oreos, like classic Oreos, but it has to be double stuff.
Yeah.
Single.
That is double stuff is the correct ratio of cookie to icing.
Yeah, get out of here with your single stuffed Oreos. What is this?
Yeah.
What?
And I don't really like, or I think you guys down in the States have a lot more flavors of Oreos than we have up here. But like anytime I've tried a flavored Oreo, they have not been particularly good. The chocolate and vanilla is just so classic.
They're pretty seasonal here. There's a mint one that I like because it tastes very similar to Girl Scout cookie Thin Mints, but you're getting like the 2 sandwich cookies and a creamy center. So there's like just a more substantial cookie, but it has a very similar flavor.
Yeah. I will unmoji many. That is just wrong.
There's an ultra thin Oreo that's actually pretty rad because the cookie itself is also super thin and it's a really cool texture.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that there were ultra thin Oreos.
Super crunchy. I'm talking
like classic Oreos. I feel like, but I'm also not a big chocolate. I like vanilla is my flavor of choice between chocolate and vanilla. I just prefer vanilla. So
yes,
I think that's
except
why,
for cake.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I'm even a vanilla cake person.
See, if I want cake, the only time I'm craving vanilla cake is at like a wedding because usually they got really good expensive cake and like good expensive vanilla cake is banging.
I don't like just white cake. Standard I like vanilla like vanilla bean, like vanilla flavor. I like
you're getting
a
fancy
lot.
On me. You say vanilla cake, I think of like a white birthday cake, and I'm like, I'd rather have all chocolate.
Yeah, no. I mean like actual vanilla, not just like cake.
Orange colored, not flavored Oreos for Halloween are my favorite. Gotta be double. Do they taste different?
Like no, I feel like if they're not flavored,
I don't think I've had the orange.
You like double stuff Oreos. That's all.
What you're saying is you like double stuff Oreos that have been painted.
Yeah. Wait, there's peppermint ones? Oh, I love peppermint. Peppermint's
always gotta have the small size peppermint patties like in a dish around Christmas time. Like
yes,
always have to have that around.
Yeah, just coloring. Then what you're saying is if you like just orange colored, then you just like double stuffed Oreos. That's it. I mean, everything's better when it's Halloween themed. I think we can all get on that hype train. But come on, you just like double stuffed Oreos. That's all that is. Yep. But yeah, I feel like we just had birthday cake Oreos and they were terrible. Like they smelled so bad. They tasted okay, but I had to like hold my breath and put it in my mouth, and that's never a good food experience. I wanted them to be so good though. They had little rainbow sprinkles in the icing, and I was like, oh man, Oreos, what are you doing this to me?
Well, I am not going to hold my breath and go put some food in my mouth. That's what I'm going to go do.
All right, chat room, you've been awesome.
Good night, y'all. See you tomorrow.